Hi, so my name's Alice and I work in our register recruitment team. And I'm here with an amazing lady today who's going to share the story of her family and how they got involved in Anthony Nolan. So I can ask you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, my name is Taruna Jindal Kundra. I have two kids, Zara, 10 years old, and a boy, Sammy. He is 8 years old. This story is about Zara, who was diagnosed in 2019 with acute myeloid leukemia, and then she relapsed in 2022, which we will talk about later today. So, yeah, and we live in Basingstoke with my husband. So it's four of us, a small family, and
Oh,
happy family now.
thank you so much, Tarina. Tell me a little bit about Zara. You said we're going to be talking about Zara today. What kind of little girl is she?
All right. So Zara is, I think she's a unique character, but I think every parent think that my children got a special power. After this treatment, everybody says Zara's a brave, Zara's fighter, which she is obviously. But as a parent, you see, she's very inquisitive child. She always wants to know. She's fun, but she's very chatty as well. She can get on your nerves too by asking. Until she gets her answer, she can be really pushy. But that's how I think all the children are. But I think after going through so much in last 4 years, she hasn't lost herself. She's still herself. In some ways, you think that I might change my statement later today that you changed so much, but at the same time, you can see the real Zara in her who loves to go out, who loves to do fun things, who's always up for something. She doesn't want a boring routine, or we are not doing something today evening, that sort of person. She
She's a
always something.
she's a fun little girl. Oh, she sounds absolutely wonderful. Um, when did you realize something wasn't quite right with Zara and that she might be poorly?
In 2019, it was the start of the school. I think she missed the very first day school because she had the usual cough and cold. And y- I took her to the doctors. We were in Kuwait that time. And in usual, they checked it's a normal viral and cough cold, it'll go. And then after 10 days, she had another cough and cold symptoms. And then we realized she has puffy eyes here, and she also has some blue sort of bruises, when children fall down in the school, and they have some bruises sort of thing. But it was very similar to that, but
Mhm.
a non oncology person, you would never know something is wrong. So I
Yeah.
think those were the signs, but I had by far no idea that world is gonna crash like that. So
Mhm.
no, it was usual cough cold and some bruising and some puffy eyes for Zara.
Thanks. So when you started noticing those, I'm guessing you took Zara to the doctor or to the hospital, and what happened then?
Yeah, in Kuwait, you can go to the private hospital anytime. So we went there, I think, end of September 24th, 25th, and they were like, okay, she may have tonsillitis. We were going in a different direction altogether. And on 9th of October, when I was really keen to know why her eyes are still puffy after 15, 20 days, and her cough is nonstop. So what something is wrong. And luckily we were told by a doctor, let's do the blood test. So we did the bloods and came back home, tucked kids in the bed, and then about 7:30, I just got a call.
Mm.
And that doctor also didn't know that she had something like that. She just said her platelets are amazingly low, which is very life-threatening. So you must go to hospital right away. So because in Kuwait, you have to go to the ministry. So it's a kind of emergency when your platelets are low. So they immediately admitted us in a hospital there.
So that blood count showed that something was really wrong and it needed further treatment. So what happened when you got to that hospital, and how did that progress from there?
We thought she got some sort of infection which got her platelets low. No idea whatsoever. So we all rushed to the hospital. All night. My husband left about midnight because he was not allowed to stay there. So all night, I remember after every half an hour, a team of doctors were barging in the door, asking questions about past 15 days. And I thought it's a bit unusual in the middle of the night. You're not letting us sleep, I thought something is like you will give antibiotics for 4 days and then we'll be home. And I remember it was a Halloween weekend party somewhere. So we were all prepping up that it's going to happen. And I was messaging everybody, oh, sorry, we are stuck in a hospital. We'll be back. Right in the morning, about 9 o'clock, when Vikas came to hospital after dropping Sammy to school, my husband Vikas. So we were told to come in a room, and then we met a hematology doctor. And that's when they told us that Zara has cancer. And you feel like, what did you just hear? Like, never ever you imagine in your life that you would be the person to get such information. In my life, I've never got to know like such news for anybody. And it was really like slipping the land under your foot. Like you hear those words, like what bad can happen. That's the worst thing would happen.
That must have been so scary for you all.
You don't believe it's happening. Like I remember Vikas sitting here and I was here and she was standing there. And the moment she said, and I looked at him like, she can't be saying the truth. Like it's a joke,
Yeah.
You don't believe it until she starts telling you that, oh, there's one hospital will transfer you immediately. It's spreading fast. And one, you get a news, and then on the top, you get to know how fast and rapidly it's spreading. So your mind can't process so much information, and you're full of emotions all of a sudden. Your body has goosebumps. You don't know how to react.
So I'm guessing they started talking, because it sounds like it obviously was spreading fast and needed to be treated really urgently. What was the treatment that Zara underwent after that diagnosis?
Leukemia, as probably most of, I don't know if you know about it. I'm sure you know more than I'm working with Anthony Nolan. And there are types like ALL and AML. Zara had type AML, which is rare in kids, but we still get it. Like in my 4 years, I've seen it. If 20 kids are diagnosed, there'll be only one maybe with AML, because it's generally found in older people. But they were very much inclined in Kuwait following the GOSH policy protocol.
Yeah.
So Zara's AML was spreading fast because her legs started, in 2 days, her health starting to deteriorate more. She had non-stop pain in her legs. So they after the bone marrow biopsy on 13th of October, they planned to start the treatment on 17th of October 2019. I still remember those days because Zara was in non-stop pain and we were just trying to ease her as much as we could. We didn't sleep all night, all day, like one worrying. And yeah, she was given the treatment. Coming back to the question, sorry, I divert so much. But yeah, she was given the first line treatment as per GOSH protocol. Yeah.
And was that chemotherapy that she started undergoing?
Yeah. So it was a 10 days, very high dose chemotherapy. I don't know the name of drugs because she had so many chemotherapies after. So I have them, but sometimes when you're talking, you don't remember the name. But they were really, with AML, I know the AML parents would know, it's a very high dose and they're very intense. They just wipe out your system, bone marrow completely. So that's why they're very, very stronger chemotherapies than the usual.
When was it first introduced, the idea that Zara might need a stem cell transplant?
That was, we were talking about 2019, and Zara had her first line of treatment. She was in remission by May 2020 when we were all going through COVID. Then in 2021, we returned back to UK, and then she started her school in year 4 in UK. March last year, 2022, there were no signs as such. It was a usual checkup with the doctors here because she was in remission. I don't know why, which instinct asked me to tell the doctor, can we repeat the bloods? She was not due bloods on 14th of March, 2022. I just asked and the doctor kind of agreed. I don't know why. Maybe the whole universe wanted us to know. And next morning on the 15th, I was working, and I just got a call from the doctor. And first I said, "Hi, doctor, how are you?" And then I thought, why is she calling me? It's very unusual for a consultant to ring me. And then my second line was, "Is everything okay?" And I remember her saying, "I'm sorry, it's not." And I couldn't take that. Like, it was really, really hard. And then she said, "I can ring you back." And I don't know, it felt like how I'm going to breathe next. It was that suffocating.
That must have been so difficult with Zara being in remission for so long, and that instinct to ask for those bloods,
Yes.
for reassurance, and you get the worst news that you just did not expect to hear.
Never. I think I never expected the word relapse. I never went in my brain there that she's ever going to relapse. I was so sure.
And I suppose she was such a happy little girl and going to school and enjoying it. But it must have been really difficult to tell Zara.
Yeah, she was in school, and that time again her platelets were very low. So I had to ring school when the doctor called to make sure she doesn't go out to play until we pick her up. Because doctors asked us to take her straight to the hospital, because again, with AML, you need to be treated ASAP. So coming back to your question, when were we told? We were told on the same day when we were asked to go to Southampton Hospital. When we reached there, the doctors took us to the room, and then they told, because it's a relapse of AML, they can't take a chance, because it has been clever. The cells were clever to come back, and they can't make it relapse again. So they can't be a second relapse. So they need to make sure there has to be transplant.
So when you were told about Zara needing a transplant, what happened next?
It was a lot of information on the day, but at the same time, we were scared. What if she doesn't get the match? I think that one, all of us might, whosoever is told that you need a transplant, the first thing comes, what if you don't get a match? And coming from a minority ethnic background, I think it was a fear, and that fear was actually true. Zara didn't get any match in the whole wide world.
That's terrifying.
You think, okay, she might not get in UK, but she'll get somewhere. But they never put us in worry. The hospital side, they never asked us to do something, but we wanted to make sure we don't end up in a situation where we don't have a match. What if? So we started our own campaigns with wherever the family is, in US, Canada. People everywhere try to help us as much as they can by having a campaign drive to have the swabs for wherever there is DKMS or Anthony Nolan, whatever they could do. So yeah, it was in March when we were told.
And so Zara had her transplant. How did that come about, and what kind of match did Zara get?
So she didn't find any perfect donor match. Not perfect. She was having no match at all. So the doctors decided to go for a cord match. I think this idea should be more, because it's a simple donation when a mother gives birth. And the idea, it really got me that how a child who was born all the way in US got to give Zara life.
Yeah,
so, yeah, it's such
incredible.
a simple thing. It's incredible. Yeah. And she got a new life just because somebody just decided to donate. And it's such a easy thing. Like, you don't have to pay any money. You don't have to do something really hard to make a decision. It was so simple. So she got, again, an unmatched. It wasn't a matched cord. So it was 6x8 unmatched cord arranged by Anthony Nolan, all the way from US. And yeah, she got her new cells in June 2022.
Oh, that's fantastic news. So Anthony Nolan, we register donors that will go on to donate their stem cells, but we also have our cord collection centres. And really interesting as well, because we have our cord collection centres at points across the UK that are in high areas of diversity, and it's all around making sure that all patients can receive a transplant when they need one. So incredible that Zara's came all the way from the US. So I think it shows how we work as a global register to support patients and families and providing transplants.
Yeah.
What was it? Were you told at the time when Zara needed a match that it was actually your heritage that made finding a donor harder? And how did that feel?
I think we were very nervous each day. Every day waiting for somebody should come up with, oh, we found a match. And especially convincing, because I think it's a lack of knowledge, mainly lack of awareness, that it's such a simple thing that one can do. Even we got to get so many silly questions, but again, you don't blame them, because there is, again, they don't know what it is. Somebody would say, oh, I can't go through a surgery just to have a swab done. Swab is such a basic thing. People don't realize that getting on the register is not difficult. And living with the feeling of in your whole life that you have saved somebody's life makes a whole new difference. So I think when you get these two things right in your head, oh, it's just a swab and it'll be my lucky day when I get a call that I can donate. I think when you put these two things together, it makes you, I think, the lucky person, or a wonderful feeling inside your heart that by doing something very tiny, you can save somebody.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
And we're so grateful for yourself and families such as yourself that share your stories, because I think you're really right. It's a lack of awareness. And I think often if people have the story and they know who's behind it, not necessarily if someone goes to register. So obviously registering, they do their cheek swab and they sit on the register, and they'd only go on to donate if they were a match for somebody. But actually understanding who it might be that needs that transplant really supports people with their decision to register, because I think it makes it real. And it helps us to educate. So we're always incredibly grateful for families such as yours and Zara, for sharing your stories with us and encouraging people to register. Is there anything that you would like to say to people that might be thinking of registering but are a little bit hesitant to do so?
I would call on to all the ethnic minority group mainly. Why? Because in my experience, I've met so many transplant families. I really want to add on here. And it felt like not a guilt or something, that I have met so many in being in hospital. I think whenever I talk to any Asian family or somewhere, nobody has a match. They were waiting. Everybody was like kind of pleading in themselves that why not? It's such a simple thing. And probably you are accusing, why not we did it before? And when you talk to other groups, you will say, oh, we found 3 matches. So it's, I think, if we all decide that we can go on the register, which is very simple. 1, easy. 2, it doesn't cost you anything. 3, it can save somebody's life. If 3 ideas get into, and we can spread it more, we can have more and more people on the register, and we can save so many lives and families, because you don't know what it comes on the other end as a cost of not having a match.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stressful. It's a life. It's somebody's life we are counting on. So I think we should all get on the register. If we can, if you're eligible, if you don't have any as such disease, please register yourself.
Thank you.
You know.
Thank you. And it is that awareness. And, again, thank you for sharing your story today, because we hope it's going to inspire some people to go on and register themselves. Last question for you, and most importantly, how's Zara now?
Zara's thriving. I think Zara is a very happy little girl. She's enjoying her life back. Like when you miss something, you know how it's important. Like school days, some kids don't want to go, but she's really, really happy. Like school makes her happy. And second thing is food, which she's enjoying the most. Yeah, but the fear in my head always is because she has once relapsed. I think you can't sleep peacefully ever as a parent. But looking at Zara, you will not know that she except her hair, which is growing now. But you would not know that she had a incredibly terrible journey last year. Like, she was not able to eat anything for good 8 to 9 months. But when you see Zara, you will be, it's another life for her. And she knows about it. And we all respect as a family that we got a new life. We got another chance.
Oh, thank you so much, Taruna. It's been an incredible pleasure talking to you today, and thank you for sharing your and your family's story.